before I came to the basement project, I was basically on death's door. The basement's given my life back, it's given me a future. It says a life beyond my wildest dreams. Today I have got a future. And it's all thanks to the basement recovery project. So, yeah, I'm eternally grateful to that.
I think when I wanted recovery, places like this didn't exist for too long. I mean, particularly during the 1990s with the Labour government, the idea was to get people into treatment and keep people in treatment through methadone programmes. When actually this sort of environment, a recovery environment, abstinence environment and a 12-step environment has existed for years and years and years. And it has to be another option for people. And I guess we came along at the right time as well for a desire for recovery as we got towards the back end of the 2000s. People were sick and tired of being sick and tired on methadone, they transferred their addictions, they were now drinking the ciders, and I think people had a desire to find a different way forward, and we were just in some ways in the right place at the right time.
So I'm an advocate of this stuff. I think it's just like my mother died of heroin overdose, and at the time she was on a methadone prescription. My mother only died of heroin overdose about 5 years ago. Many people that have been close to me who have died through drugs have died under the influence, that have been prescribed methadone at the time. I think methadone addiction is like zapping people, it's killing people, it's stealing everything from them, it's stripping every bit of goodness from them, and methadone does not combat that. All it does is suppresses a bit of that pain, and it's killing people before their time. They might not commit so much crime anywhere, but they're still using heroin on tap. I know a lot of people on methadone, but I don't know a lot of people on methadone who just sticks to methadone. I know a lot of people who's prescribed methadone who are still raving junkies, who still take a lot of crack cocaine, who still take a lot of heroin, and I don't see any sort of result from methadone. What I do from people who want to address the problem, which is their self and their addiction. I started going to prison when I was 16 years old, and when I started going to prison, there was no such thing as methadones in prison. There was no such thing as TVs in prison back then, and one of the reasons why they ended up bringing methadone into prisons was just to shut people up. That's all it was just to numb people, because they were sick of riots, they were sick of all the violence in the prison, they were sick of all this sort of stuff, and that's what it is. It's just a cheaper alternative. It's just like, there's this group of people who seem to be destroying a bit of your society, how can we turn the volume down a wee bit on them? And how we can turn the volume down a wee bit on them is just, let's turn them into monks by giving them hours of methadone. And that is, yeah, it's just a cheaper option. It doesn't address anything. It addresses nothing.
So for us, it's about treating the community. So we are creating a community. You know, you can go to a rehab and spend 3 months, 6 months in a bubble, do your therapies and think that you're okay. You come back, but you've got to live amongst your estate, your people. You've still got to go to that shitty job or whatever it is your life, consists of. Can you live life on life's terms without drugs or alcohol in a real environment? So this is the real environment. This is a community, and it's teaching people that they can live still with the parents, still with the loved ones, or in their own locality without having to use drink or drugs. So that's kind of what we're trying to create here, reality. The Breakfast Club, it was the first thing we started back in 2006. We started feeding a couple of half a dozen people. We now see about 80 people on a Tuesday, another 60 people on a Thursday. That was our first engagement with people in order to bring them through the recovery pathway. by having the breakfast club and having people cook for and serve them who are in recovery, it's that window of opportunity for somebody to see that they can get well as well. Sometimes workers will come in and use the breakfast club so that they can get back to their roots and get out of their ivory towers. We get some support from Sainsburys towards our breakfast club, so it's the first tool of engagement, and it'll still be here even when we're not.
First of all, when people come through the door, it's because they're extremely broken, so they're really fragile and vulnerable. And because they've went to any lengths to feed their addiction, first and foremost, like at the beginning, it's about really trying to build rapport, but also the power of identification to let them know that they're no longer alone and that change is possible. So through these sessions, it's more about identification and try to give them that bit of hope, because we believe when people come to the end of the road in addiction is they become in a hopeless state of mind. So it's then about trying to reinstill a bit of hope in them. Then, what has been the biggest gift that you've been given so far?
Trust.
Trust?
I've got trust back from my family. I can be given, it sounds I'm 33, I can be given £10 to go to the shop for some bread, and I'm going to come back in 10 minutes, not 4 days later. So, and then saying, this actually happened, I can't come back because there's been an accident, not like I'm absolutely spanned and I don't know, my legs won't work, or like it's that the trust. I can tell somebody something, and they believe me, because it was just lies. So that is there for reinforce the bond, the relationships I have with my family and my friends.
The biggest killer in society is isolation. Isolation kills more people than anything else. If you don't have community spirit, and there's an old saying, united we stand and divided we fall. If somebody doesn't feel part of something, it's just like they're alone. If they're alone, they're isolated. If they're isolated, they're depressed. They've lost the purpose of life.
So we look at all aspects of a person and what ingredients will help them recover. We start by inviting, say, the local table tennis club to come in, but then that guys go out and join that table tennis club. It's not about getting people in and keeping them in like treatment was. It's about connecting people back out into their community through positive activities that they might want to get involved in. We do dancing. We've got involved in jive dancing, jive, swing and rock and roll. What I particularly love about that is we open our sessions to the public. So what that does, it allows people in recovery to participate and the general public and come together. Sometimes people don't know whether you're a person in recovery or not, unless someone wants to share that. But it just breaks down the stigma as well for people going back out in the community. And it's just amazing that somebody who might have been a prolific offender is learning his boundaries, his respect from another person. He's dancing with a judge. He's dancing with a, yeah. And I think that's sort of like the pinnacle. If you can dance sober, then you're doing all right.
I never danced, at school discos or anything like that, unless I were legless and everyone else were making a cock of themselves, right? But now we're coming into treatment and doing all this, right? Michelle's organised, we do like some jive dancing and stuff, and all sorts of other things that we've done. Out of us comfort, that's certainly taken me out myself. And I can go somewhere sober, dance with strange I won't say strange people because they're not strange, they're normal people, right? And just be happy with myself. I don't need that for that thing. Yeah. Quite happy to make give it my best shot and not feel embarrassed, be happy with who I am. And I think that's the inner part of it. I'm quite happy with who I am.
My first thought in the morning is not about drugs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's morning wanker, but it's not about drugs, that's me. And obviously I've got the ability to communicate with people now. So now I forgot how to do that. And I've learned how to laugh again.
Yeah.
That's like my medicine today, is laughing.